And good morning. I've only been awake about a half an hour, which is very unusual for me to wake up after 4 o'clock, but that's what happened this morning. Anyway, the title for this morning's talk is 2012, The Courage of Compassion. In a world where we see so many things that are obviously wrong, compassion might be seen as a weakness. However, failure to be compassionate might keep many locked into the matrix. Let's face it, everyone caught in the web of deceit is a prisoner of that deceit. Can we envision a world where everyone is given the opportunity to be forgiven? Yes, I know that we have always had that opportunity, even if some didn't know it. Yet many still hold attitudes of vengeance toward perceived wrongdoers. This can wound the one holding that position. Indeed, this is a workshop weekend for me. And in every workshop, I get to witness the miracles of compassion. I get to see people share their stories of wounding. Because let's face it, folks, we cannot live in this world without being either a victim or a victimizer. And if there's one thing I've learned in many, many years of doing emotional healing workshops, it's that wounded people often wound others. So many times we maintain the behavior that we were taught. And many of us have been taught to be vengeful. We have whole nations where children are raised to hate an enemy. Whole nations, whole segments of populations where war is bred into the very fabric of the society itself. And we perpetuate all of the things that the human soul and the human heart know intuitively are destructive and wrong. We know that. I don't need someone to teach me that or to tell me that. I know that if we maintain the attitude that many of us have still in our present day and age, we will stay trapped in a matrix of conflict. I must, and we all must, rise above our perceived need to punish, because punishment only breeds more anger, more violence. And there is power, there is transformation that takes place when we hold out the olive branch of peace and recognize that sometimes people don't seem, in their perspective, to have any other choice but to behave poorly toward others. It's just the way it is. And there has perhaps been no group of people more abused than those that are the most sick among us, the not pathologists, but the sociopaths and the pathological liars that are the elite. They've been trained, many of them, into lifetimes of cruelty, lifetimes of deception. It's almost like that's the role they were given, and they were trained for that role. I'm talking about the Illuminati. I'm talking about the elite families. But that poison has spread into all aspects of our culture and our society. And as I witness the transformation of just individual people, and I do that so often in the workshops, someone asked, why do you go so often? And I've probably done 75 workshops since 1994. There's been periods that I didn't go regularly, and then there were periods that they weren't even happening after Art Sellers died, who brought the workshop here to Florida. But I've been going regularly again, and I used to go Art used to do them every single month. They don't happen with Margie every single month, most months, and we're going to have another one at the end of May. But I've watched people come through the workshops and seen the power of love demonstrated in people's lives when they realized that they didn't have to hold on to all the hurt, that there was a way to release it and let go, a way to find forgiveness, a way to experience compassion. And I've witnessed as individuals listen to the stories that others share, stories of wounding, so many times stories of wounding. And I've felt the very presence of the compassionate heart. I've listened as people share what they see in others. And I've witnessed how difficult it is sometimes to give ourselves the same gift of compassion that we're willing to give others. I've seen that we are our own worst enemies. I've seen the struggle that people have of letting go even of the wrongs that they have done. And we can change that, and I've seen it. I've seen it up front, close and intimate in people's lives. And it's a beautiful thing to behold. And I'm challenged every time I witness this to have compassion for the perceived wrongdoers in our world. Oh, I'm not saying anyone should get away with doing things that are wrong, especially when they've caused great pain to so many. But even in our cry for justice, there has to be a heart of compassion. And I'm absolutely convinced that no one without compassion should ever be in a position of passing judgment upon another. Because compassion is what gives us the ability to be human. It is the divine feminine in action. It is the feelingness, as Aristos indicated in his comment on yesterday's. It is the feeling that must pervade every aspect of our lives, the physical aspect, as it brings forth sensations in our physical being, the mental, as it brings forth intuition and shows us the third way, the way of synthesis rather than antithesis. That's the compassionate way, synthesizing the opposites, embracing the paradox, letting go of the perceived wrong so that it can be truly healed. The spiritual and emotional feeling of oneness, of recognition that we are all woven into the same tapestry of life, like it or not. We are each part of the other. This is what breeds and brings up compassion in our hearts and in our lives. And it's in every one of us. I've only ever seen one person in all the times that I've been in workshops. I've only seen one person that was so hard in their own hearts that they were unable to find the place of compassion. And they didn't complete the workshop. They ended up not staying and completing the workshop. And I understand from Margie that there's at least one other person that she knows that's in that position. And I don't even know who that individual is. But they continue the same patterns because they haven't let go. They haven't let go. And so their life continues to be in the same old rut and routine of thinking and behavior because they didn't complete the process of transforming the pain into pure love. They haven't been able to reconcile all of the contradictions that I believe with all my heart that every one of us is being called upon to do. Every one of us is being moved by the Spirit that's within us to not just want freedom for ourselves, but we recognize that as long as any remain not free, everyone's freedom is threatened and endangered. Everyone's. So I call with all of my heart, with all of my soul. I call on you to go into that place of your own central being, your own essence. Go into that place. Find that place within you. And forgive yourself first of all. And sometimes we don't have the environment that can happen easily because we're stuck in environments of the matrix. So at the same time that I'm saying go in and find that place within you, I'm also saying find a community of people somewhere in your vicinity, somewhere where you can connect with people that are willing to be vulnerable, that are willing to be authentic and honest with each other and with themselves. Find that community and listen to each other's stories so that you can be healed, so that you can have the opportunity to be more firmly established on the pathway to peace, which can only come through forgiveness and through compassionate communication and compassionate understanding. Nobody is made for hell. Nobody. No child of God, and we're all children of God, is made for punishment. We are made for pleasure, made to be free. And we have that opportunity in our lives if we will but open our eyes, the eyes of our heart, and open our ears, the ears of our heart, and see and hear the cry for love, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. When people misbehave, it's a cry for love. Let's find that courage within ourselves to be compassionate towards those that have been enslaved, so that all slaves can be liberated and we can experience together the Jubilee, as all debts against each other, financial and moral, can be eradicated. Because holding on to those debts produces the world we've experienced. Isn't it time to change that? We have the power if we will but see it and use it. I bless you this morning, and I thank you once again for listening, even though I didn't have much time to meditate this morning before coming to the microphone. As I said, it was only about a half an hour from the time that I actually woke up till I came and turned on the camera and started talking to you. I love you this morning, and I thank each of you that has the courage now to begin to make the amends necessary to change not only your individual lives, but in doing that, it also produces more change in the world and moves us ever closer to that period where we really begin to manifest peace on earth. Namaste. Namaste.